Welcome back to OT Sports. Today we got another episode of NBA Playoff Watch. We're already on episode 11, and there's just going to continue to be more and more NBA content on the channel in the coming weeks. We're only a couple weeks away from the playoffs, so these episodes are going to start becoming, twice a week, maybe even 3 times a week, just to see all the crazy playoff seeding scenarios and all that. So today we're going to do what we always do, go through the standings, talk a little bit about every team and how they've been playing, and then put the teams in the playoff bracket as if the playoffs were to start today and predict it from there. If you're new around here, we don't only do NBA, we do college basketball, college football, NFL, and MLB. So, check some of that out. We just did our MLB season preview. We also did our March Madness Sweet 16 predictions. Check those out. Those are on the channel. And yeah, as always, Discord X linked in the description. Join that, follow that. But with all that being said, let's get right in to the Eastern Conference standings. Now, these are a lot different than the West because there's a clear number 1 seed here. They've already clinched the number 1 seed, which is crazy. They've clinched the number 1 seed in the East before any other team in the league, including the Western Conference, has even clinched a playoff berth. Think about that. That's pretty ridiculous. But they've done it now. There's about 10 games left in the season, and they're 11 games ahead. So, they can already start preparing for the playoffs. They're having a great year, the Celtics. Tatum is, probably a top 5 MVP candidate. Most certainly top 10. He's probably on the cusp of 5, 6, 7. Jaylen Brown's been doing really good. Porzingis, Derek White, Drew Holiday was a great addition. Al Horford's still coming off the bench. They have the depth, they have the shooting, they have the defense, they have the star power. This team is very well equipped to make a big playoff run this season, at least I think. 2 seeded, we got the Bucks. Doc Rivers, he's doing his best. They start off a little slow. They've kind of figured it out now. 46-26 here. Giannis having a great season. He's another MVP candidate right there. Damian Lillard's doing amazing. It looks like, I still feel like they haven't, Dame and Giannis haven't really adjusted to each other's play style. I feel like, because if the Bucks get the Damian Lillard that was on the Trailblazers, I feel like he's a little bit too worried about sharing the ball. I feel like he needs to get his shots a little bit more. He's averaging 25 points per game, but I feel like whenever Giannis is out, it just seems like Dame is much better. And if they have that version of Dame with Giannis, I honestly don't see who's stopping them, even the Celtics. So that is interesting. But they're sitting at the 2 seed. The 3 seed, we got the Knicks. This, 3, 4, 5 has kind of been switching around. I updated this a couple days ago before I made this video. I was going to do it a couple days ago, but then I pushed it back to today. And it was Cavs, Magic, Knicks. Now the Knicks are at the 3 seed. A half game above the Cavs there. And, yeah, they're having a great season. Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle. They made the midseason trade to bring in OG Anunoby. It's looking pretty good. This team, very good team, and I'm glad to see the Knicks doing well. They're sitting at the 3 seed, half a game above the Cavs, who I have the 4. I do think the Cavs will probably end up finishing as the 3 seed. Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Jared Allen, Evan Mobley. They got a really good team. I honestly think on paper they're better than the Knicks, and I think overall they are better than the Knicks too. But they're only a half game back. I think when it's all said and done, it will probably be. If I had to give an order of 3, 4, 5 here at these seedings, I would go Cavs, Knicks, Magic. Looking at the Magic, they're a very young team. They're having a great season this year. Paolo Banchero, All-Star. Franz Wagner. Jalen Suggs, Cole Anthony, Wendell Carter. They have a very deep, young team. I really like this core. I really like their future. But how can they do now? They're going to have a tough matchup there in that first round against probably the 4 seed, which will either be the Cavs or Knicks, maybe even the Pacers if they can get hot, but probably not. So that's going to be a tough matchup. They're going against a little bit more playoff experienced teams there. We'll see how they do, in the playoffs, because they should make it, barring, a huge collapse. In the next coming days, a lot of these teams will clinch playoff berths. The Pacers at 6, Tyrese Halliburton's doing great. Pascal Siakam, Miles Turner, Bennett Mathurin. I really like this offense. The thing that worries me is the defense. They still have the number one offense in the league. The Hawks are close, but the defense does concern me. And that's part of the reason why they're losing games, because they can't just go out and have an insane shooting night every single night. Tyrese Halliburton's a great playmaker, but yeah, the defense definitely does worry me. With how legit of a playoff team they can be, but they're a very fun team to watch. Probably the most fun team to watch in the league, in my opinion. 7th seed, we got the Heat. They're a little bit different, more defensive, more experienced, not as flashy and young, but Bam Adebayo's having a great year. He was an all-star this season. I really like what I've seen from him this season. Jimmy Butler's been solid. Tyler Hero has been, in and out of the lineup. But, the Heat are always kind of in this range, but once they get into the playoffs, they're just a different animal. And that's because of their coaching. They probably have the best coach in the league. So they're always a scary team to see in the playoffs. And talk about the Sixers. They're sitting at the 8th seed right now. What a fall off they've had. I think this goes to show how just amazing Joel Embiid. I mean, he was averaging like 36 points per game, and he's been out for quite a while now. Tyrese Maxey's doing his best there, but he can't do everything. Tobias Harris, Kelly Oubre, Buddy Hield. They have a solid team with Joel Embiid. Without him, though, they're kind of more of a play-in team, and that's kind of what we're seeing now. But Joel Embiid, the reports came out, he's going to be back before the end of the regular season. If one of these top, 2-3 seeds gets the Sixers in the first round, that's just going to be a nightmare matchup for you. You're going to have to go against, when healthy, probably, a top 3 team in the East in the first round as, a 1 or 2 seed. I mean, that would be scary. And that's just, if Joel Embiid comes back, which I hope he does. But, the reports are saying that he will. The Bulls at 9. My favorite team. They, they're doing it. They're doing all right. DeRozan's been pretty good this season. Kobe White, what a story. I hope he wins Most Improved Player. I think he should. Maybe I'm biased. I don't know. Vucevic been great. Ayo Dosunmu really, improving on his game as well. Caruso and Patrick Williams have actually been pretty solid. I know Patrick Williams has been hurt. Andre Drummond coming off the bench has been a huge piece for them this season. I think this Bulls team is actually pretty solid. Do I think they're better than the top 8 seeds in the East? Probably not. But, kind of just middle of the road in the East. I do think they could win one play-in game. Can they end up getting the 8 seed over a team like the Heat, the Sixers, the Pacers, the Magic, whoever ends up in that 7-8 spot? Probably not. They're kind of just a mid overall team. They have been for a couple years now. The Hawks at the 10 seed, Trae Young, DeJounte Murray they've actually been doing pretty good recently. They won 3 in a row. They just took down the Celtics. Maybe the Hawks start to get hot. I mean, their offense is capable enough to carry them and win some games. They shouldn't. The defense, though, does worry me. They're kind of similar to the Pacers there. The Nets are the only team that is still in contention for a play-in spot that is not currently in the play-in. They're 5.5 games back, though. They're going to need quite a big bit of a comeback here. Mikal Bridges, is their guy. Cam Thomas has been really good too, though. I don't know. It's probably not happening. I would say they probably won't make the play-in. But we've seen crazier. We saw an 8 seed in the championship game last year, so anything could happen, I guess. But yeah, no, I'm gonna guess that the Nets are gonna be end up missing the playoffs this year. And then these bottom 4 teams, they're in red because they've been eliminated from the playoffs. The Raptors, pretty sad. They trade OG Anunoby, bring in RJ Barrett quickly. And yeah, they also trade Siakam. they still have Scotty Barnes, who I think will be a great player one day. He already is. He was, he's a very solid player. The Hornets, Wizards, Pistons, just never been in contention for the playoffs really this season. Pistons have been at the bottom of the conference for quite a while. The Wizards have kind of actually been pretty close to the Pistons recently. Now they got 2 games of separation. It doesn't really matter if I'm being honest. So yeah, that's the East. Now let's go and take a look at the West. So the West is honestly more interesting in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, the East is fun to talk about, fun and all, but the West, you got less separation from the 1 seed to the 9 seed in the West than you do from the 1 seed to the 2 seed in the East. That is ridiculous. If you want to go even further, the 1 seed in the East. Hold on. Excuse me. Sorry, I had to get a drink of water. My throat's all clogged up. Okay. Anyways, the 1 seed in the East has the same amount of separation from the 4 seed as the 1 seed in the West does from the 11 seed. So that, if you want to go even further. But the Nuggets are the 1 seed. They're the defending champs. They've been great this season. Jokic might win MVP his 3rd year. Probably deservingly so. He's been really good this season. Jamal Murray's been doing his thing. Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon. They got all the guys from last year's championship run, and they're sitting at the 1 seed in the West. They honestly haven't been at the 1 seed for the majority of the season, but I have always said I think they're probably the best team in the West. The 2-seeded Timberwolves sitting at the 2, tied with the Thunder. Anthony Edwards has really had a breakout season. Love what I'm seeing from him. This is what I was high on the Timberwolves in the preseason, and I had them I think as like a 5 or a 4 seed. I guess I wasn't high enough on them. Anthony Edwards. I said it relied on Anthony Edwards, and he has really taken a step forward this season. So good to see from him. I love him as a player. The Thunder at 3. These are my 2 favorite teams besides the Bulls, Timberwolves, Thunder, just because I love Anthony Edwards and I love SGA. I've been on the Thunder train since last year. Now they're sitting at the 3 seed. Love to see that. SGA is in the MVP conversation. Will he end up winning it? I don't know. We'll see. But I think he definitely is deserving enough to win it. These top 3 seeds in the West really just fighting for seeding at this point. I don't think any of them will drop down to the 4 seed or any lower than that. The top 3 in the West probably set. It's just the order of it, which I think will be very interesting coming down the stretch. The 4-seeded Clippers, I said they probably have locked in a 4 seed here, but now they have been struggling recently. They're 4-6 in their last 10. Russell Westbrook is injured. Maybe that's the reason. Kawhi Leonard, Paul George have been amazing this year. James Harden's been solid. They have a lot of depth. They're well experienced, well coached. But yeah, I said last episode I think that the Clippers have probably locked up the 4 seed at this point. I don't think they would get any higher, and I didn't think they would get any lower. But now, here come the Pelicans and Mavericks. The Pelicans 7-3 in their last 10. The Mavericks won 5 in a row. They're 9-1 in their last 10. They've been those 2 teams are coming. For the 4 seed there. The Clippers got to start winning some games, got to start figuring some things out. Speaking of the Pelicans, Zion, Brandon Ingram finally have had a full healthy season, and they've looked very good in doing so. They're the 5 seed right now. Love to see that for them. The Mavericks, Luka Doncic he's in the MVP conversation too. I honestly think he should win it. The fact that he hasn't won it yet is kind of crazy, but 34 points per game, 9 rebounds, and 10 assists. That is ridiculous. Almost a 34-point triple-double is crazy. Kyrie Irving's been very good for them as well. And the Mavericks have been hot recently. I really like them at that 6 seed. 7-seeded Suns, they got the big 3, but do they have anyone else? Not really. Their depth is lacking. But Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal is an amazing big three. Yusuf Nurkic has actually been pretty solid for them. Same with Grayson Allen. Eric Gordon's coming off the bench there for them. Bull's been solid. So I guess they have some depth. But, most of the scoring does come from Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. The 8-seeded Kings here. It's crazy that the Kings, really, I think, they didn't do much from last season. It's pretty much the same team. Last season, they were the 3-seed, and I thought with one more year of playing together, they would get even better. And it's not necessarily that they got worse. I just think the West is just better as an overall conference. The fact that they went from the 3-seed to the 8-seed without changing, really anything from last year. De'Aaron Fox, 27 points per game. Sabonis just broke the consecutive double-double record held by Kevin Love previously. He's averaging 20 points per game, 14 rebounds, 8 assists. He's been amazing. The fact that he wasn't an all-star this year is crazy. The Lakers at the 9 seed, they've been actually doing pretty good recently. They're 7-3 in their last 10. They've won 5 in a row. LeBron James actually has been out, I think, recently. But, the Lakers have been, holding their own. Anthony Davis, D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura. Those are kind of their main scorers there. They have a really solid team, and they've been doing really good recently. The Warriors at the 10 seed. You got to feel bad for Steph Curry. Draymond Green's been suspended a bunch. He just got ejected again. We'll see what happens with that situation. Chris Paul really hasn't lived up to much this year. He's getting up there in age. You could tell he's been in and out of the lineup this year. Kuminga's been pretty solid. Clay coming off the bench has actually been better than he was when he was starting. Andrew Wiggins, really disappointing season. Braden Podjemski, though, he's a pretty good rookie. I like him there. But yeah, I mean, it's Steph's doing his best. Reality's kind of setting in where his team's not what it used to be. And then right behind the Warriors here at the 11 seed, we got the Houston Rockets. Now, they were left for dead. They were actually behind the Jazz a little bit ago. But all of a sudden, here comes Jalen Green and Alfred Sengun. Well, actually, Sengun actually has been hurt recently. But Jalen Green's been playing amazing as of recently. He's averaging like 35 in the last 15 games or something. The Rockets have won 10 in a row. And I believe there's a stat. They've won like 15 of 17 or something like that. They've been amazing recently. Like I said, 10 in a row is crazy. And they've been on a tear recently. So the Rockets are making a late play-in surge. Can they get over the hump? We'll see. They're the only team in the West that hasn't been eliminated. And these bottom four, there's not much to discuss here. The Jazz, Markkanen, Jordan Clarkson, John Collins. It's not a great team. It kind of makes sense where they are here. Walker Kessler, pretty disappointing season from him. The Grizzlies have been injured all year. John Morant's been out for the year. He's barely played. He's only played 9 games this season. Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson Jr. doing all they can. Honestly, surprising how bad they've been without Ja. I feel like they should have been better. I feel like this team is actually, it's not like terrible without Ja Morant, but I guess, he is really that good. But they could go from the 2 seed to the 13 seed without him. And then the Trailblazers here at 14, and then the Spurs at 15. I don't know why the 15 looks like that. I'll fix that. But the Spurs, Wembanyama, that's really it there. They don't have much. They definitely have a bright future. And the Trailblazers, I don't even know what's going on there. They're not great future-wise, and they're not good right now either. So it's just not a good situation for Portland. But with all those standings, let's put them into the playoff bracket and see what we are thinking of it right now. So starting off in the bottom right or the bottom left corner, 7-seeded Suns taking on 8-seeded Kings. I'm going to go with the Suns in a 1-game elimination. I think Kevin Durant, Devin Booker have enough there to get it done over the Kings. The Kings are a very solid team, and I really like them. But I am going to go ahead and take the Suns. 9-seeded Lakers taking on the 10-seeded Warriors up top. I'm going to go with the Lakers. I think they have more depth. I think, LeBron James gets the last laugh against Steph Curry. And, I just, the Warriors, it's really just Steph and nobody else. The Lakers at least have Anthony Davis, Austin Reeves, D'Angelo Russell's been solid this year. So I think the Lakers would win that one. Then setting up a one-game elimination for the 8 seed, the Kings taking on the Lakers. I was back and forth on who I wanted to go here, but the Lakers have been hot recently. They have LeBron James. I'm going to go ahead and take the Lakers. Anthony Davis, I think, will give Sabonis some problems down low. Who's going to guard De'Aaron Fox? I don't know, but who's going to stop LeBron James on the Kings, I think, is the better question. So, I'm going to go ahead and say the Lakers lock up that 8 seed there in the West, but that's a really tough one there, Kings-Lakers. I was back and forth, but then we're looking at the East now in the bottom right. 7-seeded Heat taking on the 8-seeded Sixers. Now, if Joel Embiid was here, I think it would be a different story, but with him not being here, Heat are known to do good in the playoffs. I think they'll win. I think they go and take on the Bucks in a first-round rematch from last year as the 7 seed. That puts the Sixers in a winner-go-home scenario there. Then the Bulls versus Hawks, and another again a win-or-go-home scenario. This one's tough. I feel like when these two teams play, it's always close. But I'm gonna trust the Bulls. I think they're all around the better team. I think they have more depth. I think Caruso can handle Trae Young. And I think the Bulls would win, but I don't think they'd beat the Sixers. Even without Joel Embiid, the Bulls just don't play good against the Sixers. I don't know what it is. Tyrese Maxey's solid. Maybe the Bulls could actually beat the Sixers without Embiid. But I'm going to go ahead and go with the safe pick and take the Sixers there. Now looking back over at the West, we're doing the whole first round here, so Nuggets, Lakers, a Western Conference Finals rematch from last year when the Nuggets swept them. I don't think it would be a sweep, but I will go ahead and say the Nuggets win in like 5. Maybe 6. I'll go 6. I'll be generous to the Lakers, but I think the Nuggets would handle, the Lakers once again. Clippers, Pelicans. This one's tough just because of how good the Pelicans have been playing recently. I still am going to go with the Clippers. They've been my sleeper team all year to potentially be a dark horse team to make the finals. I don't know if I'm quite there on them now, but I do think they would beat the Pelicans. I'll go Clippers in 6. Thunder versus Mavericks. This is a tough one. The Thunder, such a young team. They're going up against Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving, 2 of the most experienced guys, playoff experience, and they just are so dominant, those two. I think they would give the Thunder some problems. As much as it pains me to say it, I think the Mavericks would win this series. I'm going to go with the Mavericks in 6. But, yeah, the Thunder, just lack of experience does worry me. I know it shouldn't, but it just does. That's just the reality of the situation. 2-seeded Timberwolves taking on the 7-seeded Suns. This is another one where it's just like Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. I mean, it's pretty much the same situation. Those two guys just worry me. I know the Timberwolves have been solid all year, and I've been high on them all year. But this first-round matchup just is so tough for the Timberwolves. I'm going to go with the Suns. I know it's probably not realistic, but it's just, Kevin Durant and Devin Booker in the playoffs. I know they didn't do much last season with those two. I mean, they made it to the second round, but I think they would be able to beat the Timberwolves here. That might be a bad pick. I don't know. I'll go Suns in 7. I'll go Suns in 7, but the Timberwolves could definitely come out on top with that one. That one is closer than the Mavericks Thunder one, in my opinion. Then looking at the East, Celtics taking on the Sixers without Joel Embiid. I don't think this is much of a question. I'll go with the Celtics in 4, honestly. I don't think they struggle too much here. The Cavs taking on the Magic. The Magic are a young team, kind of similar to the Thunder. They've been exceeding expectations this year. The Cavs made the playoffs last year. I think they will win this first round matchup against the Magic. I'll go Cavs in 5, honestly. I think they match up pretty well against the Magic there. The Knicks taking on the Pacers, 3 seed versus 6 seed. This one's tough. I've been high on the Pacers a lot this season. You know, they have a very good offense, but ultimately I think the Knicks are the more well-rounded team, but I would love to see this series. These are two teams that I feel like we haven't seen in the playoffs in a while. I mean, I know the Knicks just made it last year, but before last year, I guess. And I think this would be a win-win because both these teams would have a chance to win a playoff series for the first time in a long time. Besides, the Knicks last year. I like the Pacers offense, but I think the Knicks are the more well-rounded team. Jalen Brunson, I think, matches up well with Tyrese Halliburton. Siakam versus Julius Randle. This is a pretty even matchup. I'll go with the Knicks in 7, honestly, but I just think them being the more well-rounded team ultimately come out on top. The Bucks taking on the Heat, a rematch from last year's 1 versus 8 game where the Heat won in 5. They upset the Bucks. Giannis, I think, is on a mission. I think he gets his revenge, and I think they beat the Heat pretty handedly. Actually, I'll go in 6, but I think the Bucks take care of business ultimately. Giannis, Damian Lillard, Chris Middleton. I think they are capable of getting that one done. Now looking at the West, the Nuggets versus Clippers. This is one where, I guess not really. I've seen this matchup happen in the Western Conference Finals in previous predictions when the Nuggets were the 3 seed and the Clippers were the 4 seed. I think these are the two teams most well-equipped to make the finals out of the West, so I think whoever wins this one will end up making the finals. I'm going to go with the Nuggets. I know it's the boring pick, but I just trust them more. We've seen them win it last year. They have Jokic, and I don't see who's stopping Jokic on the Clippers, to be honest. That's really the situation here. Now, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, I've said this all year. If the Clippers can stay healthy, they're going to be a scary team to play in the playoffs. But Russell Westbrook being down as of right now, that sucks. Jamal Murray, I think, will have a very solid series here. I'm going to go with the Nuggets in 7. I think the Clippers could take it to all 7 games, but I am going to go ahead and trust the Nuggets a little bit more. Then we got the 6 seed versus the 7 seed down here. The Mavericks taking on the Suns. KD and Devin Booker versus Luka and Kyrie. This would be a hell of a series. I'm back and forth. I ultimately like the Mavericks' depth a little bit more, and I actually trust them more, as crazy as it is to say. We've seen them make the Western Conference Finals before. I know the Suns have too, but I am going to go ahead and take the Mavericks. I think they get it done we'll say in 7. I just feel like at any given point, Luka could go out and average a 40-point triple-double in this series. That's just how good he is. And I know Devin Booker and Kevin Durant are capable of doing, similar things like that. But you also have Kyrie Irving. And, yeah, like I said, I trust the Mavericks' depth a little bit more. I think they would out-rebound the Suns in this one. So give me the Mavericks in 7. Celtics versus Cavs. I'm going to go ahead and take the Celtics. I think this one's pretty clear. I go with the Celtics in 5. I just don't think the Cavs match up really well with them. And most teams don't match up well with the Celtics because they're just that good. I don't think the Cavs stand much of a chance there. The Knicks taking on the Bucks. I am going to go with the Bucks. I know the East is a little bit chalky, but I try to make up for it a little bit with the West picking a lot of upsets there. But, the NBA playoffs tend to be a little bit more chalky just because, the better teams will end up typically winning in a 7-game series. If it was a single elimination tournament, I think this would be interesting, but it's not. 7-game series. So I'm gonna go with the Bucks over the Knicks. I think the Bucks who's stopping Giannis on the Knicks? I think, this is not a good matchup for the Knicks. I mean, Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle's great, but they don't match. I mean, Damian Lillard's better, I think, than than Jalen Brunson, and Giannis is much better than Julius Randle. And I think the Bucks are better coached, and I think they have more depth. I just think they're better in every category. I'll go with the Bucks in 5. I think the Knicks could win one game maybe. Now looking at the Western Conference Finals, Nikola Jokic versus Luka Doncic. That would be amazing. I would love to see it. Ultimately, though, the Nuggets are the best team in the West, I think. I'm going to take them to go to the championship. I trust them the most out of any team coming out of the West. I said whoever wins Nuggets Clippers, I think, would make the finals. Luka Doncic can only get you so far. I know Kyrie Irving's there, but the Nuggets have more depth. I think they have more playoff experience. I know the Mavericks are very experienced, but the Nuggets just won it last year, and they have a pretty similar team from last year. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Nuggets to return to the championship, to the NBA Finals. I'll go with the Nuggets in 6 over the Mavericks. Now looking at the Celtics versus Bucks. This is the matchup I really want to see in the Eastern Conference Finals because I think the Bucks could give the Celtics a run for their money just because of Giannis. He's a huge problem for the Celtics, but I just think the Celtics have too much. I think they would win in 7. I just think they have too much. Drew Holiday, I think, would be able to slow down Damian Lillard in this series. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Porzingis. They have so much offensive firepower. Defensively, they're very good as well. They have the best depth in the league. They shoot the 3 very well. They rebound well. They have experience. Al Horford is there. This Celtics team, I'm telling you, is just the best team in the league. I'm being honest. I think they would win in 7 over the Bucks. And then in this one, both these teams playoff experience, but I think the Celtics are just on a mission this year. They've come up short year and year. They've made the Eastern Conference Finals against the Heat in 2020 and 2021. What was that championship in 2021? Okay, last year it was Nuggets Heat. The Celtics won. I'm trying to think. So, last year the Celtics lost in the Eastern Conference Finals to the Heat in 7 games. The year before that, they lost in the NBA Championship in 6 games to the Warriors. The year before that, they lost, I believe, in the Eastern Conference Finals to the Bucks. And then the year before that, they lost in the Eastern Conference Finals to the Heat. So, they've come up short year and year again. If there's any year for them to win it, it's got to be this year. I think they're the best team. They're the most well-equipped. Like I've been saying, they have the most depth. They defend well. They can score on you. They can shoot. They can drive. They rebound very well. They're experienced. I just feel like all the signs are pointing towards the Celtics. The fact that they have clinched the 1 seed and no other team in the league has clinched a playoff berth yet, I think that goes to show how dominant they've been this season. I'm going to take the Celtics to win the NBA championship. But comment down below who you think would make the NBA championship and who you think would win. So yeah, comment down below your finals matchup and the winner. Comment down below what you think of mine. Maybe I'm crazy, but yeah, I don't know. I just don't see a world where the Celtics don't win this year. So yeah, that's going to do it for episode 11 of NBA Playoff Watch. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure you go down there, leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, turn on the notice to make sure you don't miss out when we upload a video. We got college basketball, college football, NFL, NBA, and MLB. So if you're interested in any of that, subscribe. As always, Discord X, linked in the description. Join that, follow that, whatever you'd like to do. But with all that being said, I think that's going to do it. Hope you guys enjoyed this one.